Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is the Tool of Hearts. My name's Chuck.
And I'm the better looking of the two off hearts. Almost
More
better
like the
looking
deaf.
anyway.
You're like the deaf of the Tool of Hearts.
I'm also the one who can't hear worth a damn,
That's what I said. I said you're deaf.
even with the new hearing aids.
Ladies and gentlemen, for like the last 5 minutes before we started, he's getting ready to say something, then he don't say something, and I'm like, hey, what did you say? And he's like, what? I didn't say anything.
I'll just ignore you just to make you angry.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's deaf, and that's a common refrain from him when he does not hear you and he tries to play it off. He's like, oh, I was just playing with you. But he's really deaf. Like really, really deaf. So I see you have a new t-shirt on today.
A new one on, that's right. We play at 2 o'clock.
College World Series.
It's win or go home in Florida. Florida beat us for the SEC championship. But they got handed to them yesterday. But we get down to the nitty-gritty today.
And Alabama got beat in the baseball.
Yeah,
or I should say the men's baseball team got beat.
Yeah, and I never even heard of that team before.
It doesn't matter. They lost, right?
That's right.
Don't matter who you play. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose.
That's right. You either win or go home.
That's it.
But I'm going to tell you, today, UCLA plays Stanford. Yesterday or something like that. I think UCLA will beat them. I'm predicting Oklahoma, Texas, or UCLA. One of those three. If UCLA wins today, I think they have a good chance to get into the championship. If not, it's going to be Texas and Oklahoma. That's my prediction.
Okay.
And speaking of World Series, a little bit of history. It plays in Oklahoma City, but it wasn't always played in Oklahoma City. Back in the day, the AIAW and the NCAA had conflicts, and they had different different championship games and stuff like that. The AIAW is the Association for Intercollegiate Athletes for Women. From 80 to 82 was in Norman, Oklahoma, and then there were two competing tournaments in 82. Then Omaha, Nebraska, 82 to 87, followed by Sunnyvale, California. You're not going to believe this one.
What's that?
Columbus, Georgia, 19. It was held at the softball venue for the upcoming Olympic Games in Columbus. And then after that, it moved to Oklahoma, which has been played pretty much ever since. Which conference do you think has the most wins?
SEC?
Nope. Pac-12 schools have won 65% of the championship games since 82, followed by the Big 12 with 10%, SEC with 7.8%. The teams that have won the most, UCLA has won 12 championships, followed by Arizona with 8, and Oklahoma with 7.
I thought you said which. I thought you said which conference. I thought you said which conference.
Yeah, the conference was the Pac-12. They won the most. 65% of the wins come from the Pac-12. Of course, UCLA and Arizona got most of those wins. Yeah, pretty interesting. And they had won 2 championships when it was in the Southwestern Conference. So it's a good game. So I'm going to tell you, a lot of athletics. I think it's going to come down to Texas and Oklahoma. I really do. Watching them play, and well, they got some power. Especially Oklahoma. They're strong. If you got them bad, they're going to knock that ball out of the ballpark.
You said they play at what time today?
Do I?
What time do they play today?
We'll play 2. That's why I said, are you ready?
Oh,
I got to get ready for this.
I gotcha.
Let me see that shirt you got on.
You read it?
What does that say?
It's Saxon.
All right. Where'd you get that at?
And Uriah Heep. I got it at the concert on Thursday night.
Yeah, tell me about that. I saw a lot of stuff you posted on Facebook there.
Yeah, it was at the Tobin Center. This was the 9th time that I've seen Saxon. I've been watching them play since 81, 82. One of my favorite bands next to Iron Maiden. Both of them are from the new wave of British heavy metal. I was able to get a meet and greet add-on to it, and it was one of the best meet and greets that I've ever seen. Both of the bands So they came out into this open area and they just kind of like scattered themselves around the room. And you could just go up, talk to anybody you wanted to, get them to sign anything you had. They would take all kinds of pictures with you. They were just the most gracious hosts you would ever want to be around. The tour manager was awesome. Before, they came out, and he's like, look, they're going to be here. Ask them anything, have them sign everything. They're here for you. And he wasn't lying.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. These guys have been around a while. They're pretty close to your age. You just don't like that kind of music.
Well, that's why they're still popular, still famous. They play to the crowd. That's good marketing.
And both bands are still making music too.
Yeah, they know who pays the bills.
They do.
Yeah. They probably get excited to see all these folks get out and get excited, and that makes them get excited and makes them want to play that much more, that little harder, to get everybody excited. So that's what makes these concerts fun, you know what?
They have put out, let me see, how many albums have they put out? They put out a lot. Saxon has. God, let me see how many studio albums. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 studio albums spanning from 1979 to 2024. They've been putting out albums in the 70s, in 79, 80s, 90s, 2000s, the teens, and the 20s. They put out 2 albums since 2020. 2022 was Carpe Diem, and 2024 was Hellfire and Damnation.
Well, you've seen Iron Maiden before, right?
I've seen Iron Maiden 8 times, and this will be the 9th time this November.
Well, we got to give it coming up too, that Molly Hatchet.
Yep, we got Molly Hatchet coming up this month.
I've done some research on them. They've been around a while too.
They have since the 70s. Yeah.
A little history about them. You know how they got the name Molly Hatchet?
I never bothered to look.
It's kind of funny. They were a friend of theirs, Bobby Maddox, and was before Danny Joe and all those guys. And anyway, they're playing in Florida and Tallahassee, Jacksonville area, and they were saying there's like 12 clubs in the area. So every week they'd play a different club.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd change the names, for the popularity and all that kind of stuff. And finally somebody said, we got to stop this. we need to have a name. And, that one week there'd be somebody, the next week somebody else, and they get down to the 12th one, you start all over again, stuff like that. So I decided to rename the name of the band, have a permanent name. So they pull out a John Deere hat. Can you imagine? A John Deere hat. And each one of them had 3 choices. And they'd write them down on a piece of paper and threw it in the hat. And the 12th name they drew was Molly Hatchet. Somebody said, who's the girl in the band? Of course, there's no girl in the band, right? So like that. And so that's how the name stuck. They started using it. Then people in that area actually started making bumper stickers with the name and stuff. So that's kind of how it stuck. And, Molly Hatchet was that lady killer. I guess it killed all those people.
She was a prostitute who murdered and mutilated and decapitated her clients.
History books call it Hatchet Molly or something like that. She, passion killer. Anyway, that's how I got started. A couple times they tried to change the name, but they ended up coming back to it, and they just stuck with it. It was kind of funny how they came up with just throw names, a piece of paper into a John Deere hat, pull out one, and it's worked for them. And we're kind of looking for. I'm not too much into the headbanging stuff, and I kind of like this. I was just listening to some music over the last few days, like the Big Bopper and some of those guys. I like it. Back in the day, you could understand the words. That's what I like. The music. When the music starts drowning out the words, I kind of get lost. And of course, with the hearing loss and things like that, I like to get that.
I
So
bet
I'm
you could
looking
hear
forward
and understand the words if
to
you went
that.
and saw a Judas Priest concert.
So I'm looking forward to the Molly Hatchet. See, the Southern Rock and a little bit of everything.
That's why I bought the tickets. I think you would like them.
Yeah. So that was pretty good. I was reading about the history and of them, and they they've been around a while. Did you know the original band members are no longer alive?
That's correct. There are no original band members left alive in Molly Hatchet. That is
Yeah.
that is the saddest part.
Yeah.
And they all died at relatively young ages. The original singer, Danny Joe Brown, he died at age 53. The original guitarist, he died at age 53. The original bass player, 64. The original drummer, 57. The original bass player, he died at 62. The founding and original guitarist, Dave Holbeck, he died just a few years ago at age 66. Jimmy Farrar, who replaced Danny Joe Brown for a period of time until Danny Joe Brown came back, he died at age 67. Another singer, he died at age 58. And the other original guitarist, Steve Holland, he died in 2020 of pneumonia and complications from COVID at age 66. And
But yeah,
another band member, he died in 2015 from heart failure at age 63. All these guys from 53 to like 60 something, they must have had a hard life.
but what a tribute though to the group to keep the name, and you still have the connection, even though they're not the original members of the band, but that connection where they were associated with that speaks volume about the group, the original group, their impact.
Yeah, the music. I mean, it's just awesome music. I mean, it just when you hear it, it just like gets you hyped up and ready to go.
Yeah.
And then we got 2 weeks after that, we got George Thorogood.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a good one. That last one we went to, he surprised me. I no doubt in my mind it was going to be good, but it was a whole lot better than what I expected.
You have such a low bar to think how good these guys are. I should say a high bar on how good they're going to be. And I take you and you're like, oh, wow, these guys are great. And I'm like, yeah, Dad, I've been telling you for like 40 years how good these guys are. And you just didn't want to hear it. Oh, they're just a bunch of long hairs. They're a bunch of crazy rockers. Probably on drugs.
Yeah,
And they got their ears pierced.
My favorite. I just got a new CD this morning. Guess who it is?
I can't see. It's kind of turned.
Lefty Frizzell.
Lefty Frizzell.
But I got a little bit of everything on my USB. I'm not going to download anything on the phone. I'm going to play it off my USB and put back and put some stuff in there. But I like this one. So if you got the money, I got the time. Who sang that?
You got the money, honey. I got the time.
That's probably Hank.
It does sound like Hank.
Yeah. But it isn't. Yeah. One of my favorites is the Long Black Veil. I love that song. But anyway, that's what I got to give you credit for. You have such a wide variety of taste in music. You like a little bit of everything.
I like a lot of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, from the early days before it was even called hip hop or rap, I mean, you go back to Parliament Funkadelic, which before they were Parliament Funkadelic, it was two bands. It was Parliament and Funkadelic, and both were fronted by George Clinton. And you go back to the 60s, he had like some hard rock, almost like acid rock, Jimi Hendrix style stuff on that first Parliament album. And then how it just changed and fused and got with the funk and the soul in the 70s, which was kind of where James Brown was going, and just listening to all of that music. And then at the same time in the 70s, hearing Fleetwood Mac, ELO, all the stuff on the radio, Top 40, Supertramp. And then you had crossover artists like Charlie Daniels, hearing him on the pop rock stations, not knowing that he's a country artist.
Exactly.
So you get into that, and then you live in Georgia, and then you hear bands like Molly Hatchet, 38 Special, all those Southern rock bands, Blackfoot. So you hear all of that, and then it just, you know what I'm saying? It just
Yeah,
takes off in different directions, and then you hear punk rock. And then when you really get into punk rock, what you're really hearing is your dad's early 60s surf rock music. You listen to the Ramones, I swear to God, you'd think you were listening to 1962 or 63 rock.
yeah.
Just
Leonard Skinner and all those
just
guys.
faster. Yeah, Leonard Skinner. Oh my God, Leonard Skinner. One of the first records that I remember having bought for me, Mom bought me, I think Leonard Skinner's last album.
Yeah.
I remember for Easter before we left Georgia, my Aunt Carolyn bought me the first Foreigner album.
You still have those things around?
Nah, I don't have that album anymore. I wish I had the Leonard Skinner one still. That
That'd be
might
worth
be
some
worth some
money
money.
now.
You know, first edition, you know, first printing, yeah, that might have been worth some money. But as I got older, I started listening to harder rock music and harder. And then this thing called the new wave of British heavy metal hit the scenes in the early 80s. And then you had Ozzy Osbourne, who was fresh out of Black Sabbath. And then, you know, and then growing up hearing Van Halen, that first album in 1978, I mean, it just blew me away. And the things that Eddie Van Halen could do on the guitar, oh my God, just phenomenal. Even you had to admit, you know, when you would hear his stuff, like, man, this guy's good.
He's quite an artist, huh?
Yeah, he really was.
Yeah. Well,
he was an innovator on the guitar, and he was fearless.
I would give you a shout out to some friends of mine. Yesterday, I had lunch at Blanco Barbecue.
Okay.
I think we went there a long time ago. You and Kaylee and
that was a while ago.
Huh?
I said that was a while ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago. But anyway, in 2017, I was fortunate to be selected as Area Manager of the Year with Whataburger. Denise Roberts, Debbie Prado, Brenda Soto, Jerome Hannon, and Ernie Young. Those was my team. So yesterday we all got together and went over to Blanco Barbecue just to celebrate and talk about old time. So they're all there except for Denise. She couldn't make it. Of course, they all had a shout out for you and asking how you guys were doing, your sister, and all those kind of things. It was fun. So we picked up Brenda Soto, always follows our podcast.
Okay.
And so yesterday she's on Spotify. She said, "I listen to your podcast, but I don't know how to follow you guys." So she pulls it up, and so I just hit click follow. So hopefully we got another member to follow us. I'm not sure where we stand on downloads and stuff like that, but I thought it was pretty neat. And actually, all four of the guys that were there yesterday listen to our podcast from time to time, and I think it's pretty neat what we do and, you know, the fun that we have and stuff like that. So we give them a shout out and special thank you, because in 2017, that was pretty special for me. And best that I can recall, I think I was the only person to actually be Area Manager of the Year as well as winning the General Manager of the Year. The only one that would be Jorge Garza. I think he may have been, you know, in both those categories. Prior to that, I don't think anyone had actually won both of them. So that's pretty neat. And the fun part of it was at least they listened to our podcast. So I know we got, well, I don't know about Denise because she wasn't there, but I know we got four that listen to our podcast from time. Then Brenda was downloading yesterday to make sure she follows us on Spotify.
Are you there?
Yeah.
You just stopped talking.
I was waiting for you to say something.
No, I was just listening to you.
How many downloads have we had so far?
While you were talking, that's what I started to do. I started to pull it up, and we're doing pretty good. We've gone over 3,600. We're at 3,606.
Okay.
We're only 2 days into June, but let me hit the June stats. Just 2 days. So far, 6 downloads over 2 days, which is, you know, normal for us. But the same countries. We've had Australia, Ireland, all within 2 days. Both of these countries have, again, listened to our podcast, which tells me it can't be an accident. Maybe they like what these two goofy old farts are saying. I don't know.
Well, maybe one of us is doing something right.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that's probably you.
But you know what else we need to start doing? We need to start paying more attention to soccer, or as they say outside of America, football. I mean,
Yeah.
if we're going to cultivate this international audience, I mean, these people are mad for soccer. And I don't know if you've been watching the TV show on FX, or if you can watch it on Hulu. Welcome to Wrexham. Have you heard of it? Welcome to Wrexham. Wrexham is a soccer team or football from Wrexham in Wales. They have the oldest stadium in soccer, and you know, a long time ago they were up at the higher echelons, but you know, over the last 20 or so years they've steadily fallen in their standings. And from watching the show and a little bit that I know about English Premier League soccer, and I'm sure it's that way for a lot of different soccer leagues in these other countries, is these leagues, they're in a tier or a pyramid, and the team, there's only a certain amount of teams at the top. And if you end the season at the bottom of the list, you get what they call relegated, which means you get kicked out of the top league into the next lower league. And in that league that's just below them, the team that's at the top gets promoted. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not like the NFL where if the Cowboys lose every game every year for 20 years, they're not going anywhere. They're staying right where they're at.
Exactly.
If this was soccer in England, they'd be gone. So that's what the show. Hang on. So that's what the show "Welcome to Wrexham" is about.
Yeah, the
These
more
two
I watch it,
actors.
the more I like soccer. I used to for Jordan when she was working with the soccer team out on San Antonio football club. They do pretty good. I haven't followed them too much this year to see how they're doing, but in the past they've been doing pretty good. And
I think they won their championship last year or the year before.
I know that Lionel Messi, he's one of the big names and big money guys. And
he's with Miami.
Yeah, but he just transferred over, or I don't know what they call it, but in the last couple of years, right?
Yes.
But he was on a European team, right?
Yes. But the show "Welcome to Wrexham," it's about two actors, Ryan Reynolds, huge movie star, and Will McElhaney, who's a fairly well-known actor, mostly from TV shows like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia or Mythic Quest. The two of them bought the football team in 2021, I want to say, I think it was in 2021 during COVID. They bought the team, and the first year that they had the team, they didn't get promoted. But in the last 2 years, they have made it out of the bottom tier into the actual professional league, and then at the end of this past football season, they got promoted again, which was this year. So by April, May of this year, when the season finished, they're going into the next league, which I think is League 2, which is only 2 more leagues ahead of them. So there's League 1 and then the Premier League. So they're moving up. They're getting the right talent, they're getting the right coaches, they're making the right adjustments. They're just doing everything they can to get this team promoted and help the community, because it is, if you watch the show, you'll see how much of the community is involved in the team and the club and the culture. And it's that way all over the world when it comes to soccer. These fans, just think about Alabama football, Auburn, Georgia, how those fans are, how rabid. Just multiply that by 10. And now you're starting to scratch the surface on what soccer means to these people.
What's the name of that show again?
Welcome to Wrexham.
Okay. Make sure I look it up and check it out.
I'm just call Tina. I'm sure she's seen it.
Yeah. Your sister and these they're big into soccer and hockey.
And hockey.
Yeah. And I guess it's what you kind of grow up with. I grew up around football. I like baseball, but I'm not a huge baseball fan. If I go see the game in person, I really enjoy it, but watch it on TV is just, I'm not there. But basketball and I just like college sports and high school sports. I don't know, it's just they're more interesting, fun, and you don't know who's going to win.
No,
as a
you
general
really don't.
rule, so those kind of sports and stuff.
We're getting up on that 30-minute mark.
Well, I got a trivia question for you before we.
Okay, what do you got?
Why, when you sneeze, why do people say "God bless you" or "bless you"?
You're getting the devil out.
No, it's a prayer to protect the soul. For most of history, before the advent of modern medicine in the late 19th century, life could be brutally brief. For example, life expectancy in 1900 was just 32 years. In 2021, it was at 71. So death took many forms, like by infectious diseases, including bubonic plague, influenza, and walkout. So an outward sign of illness such as sneezing was a reason for concern, and in turn, prayer. So that's how the term "bless you" got started, or "God bless you" got started.
Okay.
There's your history lesson for today.
Want to hear a dad joke?
All right.
What's the difference between a piano, a tuna, and a pot of glue?
Well, I'm gonna get ready to go watch this softball game.
Okay.
Then watch them tonight. Stanford and UCLA coming on at 6, and then tomorrow we really get down to the nitty gritty and find out who's going to make it to the playoffs. I like the system the way they do it. If you win, you keep playing. If you lose twice, you're out.
Well, you gonna let me finish my dad joke?
You right?
You gonna let me finish my dad joke?
Yeah.
So I said, what's the difference between a piano, a tuna, and a pot of glue? And you're supposed to say, I don't know. I said, you can tune a piano, but you can't piano a tuna. And then you're supposed to say, well, what about the pot of glue? And then I say, I knew you'd get stuck on that.
Okay.
That's the joke.
I'm stuck on that.
It's a dad joke. They're supposed to be stupid. This is lost on him, people. He's so behind the times. He doesn't even know what a dad joke is. That is a quintessential not understanding the dad joke. That is the irony, people. All right. Take care, everybody.
Y'all be good. Love you guys.
All right. Love you too, Dad. Take care, everybody.
See y'all next week.
Roll Tide. See y'all next week.